If you've worked in the IT or audiovisual space long enough, you've gotten this question. Hey, where can I get this cable? Now, it doesn't matter what this cable is, the answer's almost always the same. Monoprice. You have a friend that says, I'm thinking of wiring my entire house in fiber optics. First, you back away quickly and say, not it, but the cabling that they need is at Monoprice. Or they say, hey, I just bought a new 4K TV for my home theater, but it's 120 hertz and I need a 50-foot cable. Monoprice. As years went on, we saw them focus on things like monitor mounts, standing desks, and even 3D printers. Last year, we saw them try their hand at a fight stick, and even a multifunction hub for the Steamdeck. Today, we're going to take a look at the MTM-100. This is a Bluetooth 100-watt speaker. Now, Monoprice has made speakers before, but this one is squarely aimed at gamers. So, without further ado, I'm Ron Burke, editor-in-chief for GamingTrend.com. It's kind of already open. Let's reopen this box, see what's inside, and see if they can maybe make a solid speaker for us gamers, or if they should, I don't know, stick to cables. If you're like me, you probably can't stand the sound of crinkling plastic on video, so I went ahead and skipped past that part. We did unbox everything at the blink of an eye, and we'll get into these in just a moment, but I wanted to show you what else is in the box. There's not a lot, but that isn't to say that there isn't a lot of configuration that we can do with these speakers. It does come with speaker wire, as you would expect. Some nice heavy gauge speaker wire, and they went ahead and silvered the ends of these, so you're not going to need to do the twisty thing. This is high quality stuff. Some RCA cables here that's going to interconnect the two devices, a power cable, a remote with batteries, thank you. Little feet, these are going to go on the bottom of the device to keep them from scratching up your table, and then of course the instructions. Before we get too far along, I am going to put the feet on these because I'll be sliding them around on this surface and I don't want to rough up the surface. These are merely peel and stick. So just pull them out of the package, literally as I just said. Peel them off the package here. Stick them on where you want them. There's no detent or anything like that, so you really can put them truly wherever you want. So if you plan on setting this on its head for whatever reason, knock yourself out. On both towers, you'll find one 1 1/4 silk dome tweeter, two 4-inch woofers, and then on each side, you will find a 5-inch driver. And that's the case on both towers. What you can't see is that in both of these devices is a Class D 50-watt amp. So 50 watts here, 50 watts here for 100 watts of total power. I am going to set this secondary tower aside while we talk about the primary one. You will notice on the back though, there really isn't much to it. There's no power, there's no connectivity other than speaker connectivity to the primary tower. So we're going to set this aside for a moment and take a look over here where all the magic happens. Now obviously you can hook this device up to just about anything, but how you connect it is really up to you. Thankfully, Monoprice has given us a lot of options with the Monolith. Starting with the first one. So USB-C. Think about this, you're in the dark, you're trying to hook this device up, it's a black device in the dark. So you end up doing the USB dance, right? I think I've done enough of that for my life, so thank you for making it USB-C. It's better because I don't lose sanity points by doing this, but it's more importantly not going to damage the device. I know that it's going to go in, no matter how I jab at it, it's going to go in there and it's going to work. Because this is not really carrying a data of any kind, just about any USB-C cable will work. Keep that in mind for a second. The next port over is SPDIF. That's the optical port. Now, realistically, you're probably not going to use optical. Most of the time, if you're using optical, it's because you have a special use case. Maybe you're splitting your optical and your video. You know, you've got HDMI for all of your 4K, or maybe you're crazy and you've gone 8K, and you've got a receiver that'll do that, but you wanted to carry your optical audio on a separate cable. Thankfully, you have that option here, but realistically, you're probably not going to use it. Here's the thing though, neither one of those cables are included. I think I might know where I could pick up those cables. No. Anyway, so that's your connectivity options for connecting this to, say, a PC or a console. You've got those right there at your fingertips. The next thing over is, well, depending on how old you are, you probably don't know what these are, but these are analog. These connectors are called RCA, and you have the two RCA cables, and then you have one for the subwoofer. It's nice that it's included. I'm looking at the amount of power that this device can put out and the amount of just pure hardware I'm looking at, and I just don't feel like I'm gonna need a subwoofer. It'll be interesting to see once we get it all powered up. Realistically, we're talking about PC speakers, so let's slide these out to where they probably will be on my desk. I just don't see having a subwoofer at this distance, maybe underneath my feet. Still, it's nice that it's included as an option, and we'll see if it's needed. Now I'm gonna take a second and laugh here because I'm gonna take a moment and not hook this up until I place an order at Monoprice. So one of the things that I intend to do, I like this to be nice and clean. Now I could jam these in here, right? These unscrew. And I can run these through the top. They have the holes here, which is nice. And I'll probably do that just to test. But long term, I don't want to do this. Long term, I don't want to jam the cables in there like this. So what I'm going to order, and I'll show you in the description what these are, I'm going to order some banana plugs. Banana plugs, you notice that these have holes here. The banana plugs, what I'll do is I'll take this soldered end and you put those in those banana plugs and they seal shut over the top. And then what happens is you plug them into here and it stays nice and clean and they're very easy to remove. I'm not pinching the end of a cable. Instead, it's a nice clean connection point. I highly recommend that. If you're gonna buy a speaker of any quality, pick yourself up some banana plugs as well. Again, I'll leave some in the description so you can see those. For now, I am gonna continue just getting these wired up, but I am gonna take a second and place that order. So, 1 second. Now, while I finish hooking this up, I wanna tell you about something else that you can't see. Inside this device is a Qualcomm aptX HD digital signal processor. Now, we've seen this in some really high-end wireless headsets, as well as some recently released earbuds. And what they're for is they handle the digital signal processing, and they do so to try and make the clearest possible sound that you can get over a wireless connection. Now, Qualcomm's pretty much kind of the leader in this space, and this particular DSP is used on, well, really just name a high end, and it's probably in that set. So clearly Monoprice did their homework on who they wanted to work with, and they've paired with a good company for that. I'm eager to hear how this sounds over a wire versus something like, what is it gonna sound like coming from my phone, or from a Nintendo Switch, or my Steamdeck? So I'm eager to get that wired up and hear what 24-bit at 48 kilohertz sounds like. All right, we're all wired up, so I wanna go over one last thing. On the front of the device, once it's powered on, you'll find a small light here. On this knob, you see Bluetooth, USB, optical, and RCA. And obviously we can turn this, and that's going to change which input that we're gonna be using off of the back of the device. In this case, the only thing we're gonna be using is Bluetooth because we don't have anything else hooked up. When that's blinking, we should be moving into pairing, so why don't we do exactly that? Now, if you're like me, you tend to kind of neglect some of your peripherals. I'll definitely spend the money on a good video card. I'll buy an excellent monitor, 4K 144, but I tend to forget my speakers. The ones that I've had were cheap when I bought them in 2015. They have a little picture of a scorpion on them. I think that company is either out of business. I know the speakers are long since discontinued. And they weren't that great to begin with. So it'll be nice to have at least some solid sound for a while. And that's really what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hook these up and I'm gonna run them for a couple days. I'm gonna run meetings, I'm gonna listen to music, I'm gonna watch movies. Just generally use them. So it'll be one of those training montage things for you, but it's gonna be a couple of days for me. So give me a moment and I'll be right back. So obviously I could pair it up with my phone, but where's the fun in that? So I brought out my Steamdeck. In the Bluetooth section here, we're going to navigate to MP4341. Because I've not connected this device to anything yet, it automatically went into Bluetooth pairing mode. But if it didn't, on the remote there is a button for pair, or I can simply press the button that's on the front of the volume knob and it will go into pairing mode. So we're going to select that and we're going to wait. Not very long though, it's done. So I'm going to face these forward since my speakers are going to be loud and I don't need it reverbing off of my microphone, but let's see. Oh boy, wow, even facing away, that is very loud. Let's fire up I'm tempted to fire up this stuff, but then I also remember that there's such thing as being struck down for copyrighted music, so I think I'm probably gonna mute the music on this, but let's fire up Midnight Suns. I'll probably do a little bit of a time skip here, so we're not waiting for the loading times. They are rather long on this device, so just one moment and I'll be right back. All right, we're jumping right into a battle.
It's about time. You clowns like the juggle.
As Crossbones has earned a good thrashing. Really keep an eye on that bomb.
You're handling it.
You've been practicing, haven't you?
Bear with me, this one requires a little bit of aiming.
I will make this quick.
Teach me that move sometime, Hunter.
Well, it was an interesting week of testing. While I was never able to get it to pair with my phone, I suspect that has to do with my phone more than anything else because it was able to pair with everything else. When in doubt though, there's an RCA connection that goes to a 3.5 millimeter. You simply plug that in and you're good to go. Well, as you can hear. I tested games like Company of Heroes with lots of explosions. That sounded phenomenal. I played movies like Devotion, which frankly will blow any speakers you have out of the water. And I even tried out a few things like Zoom meetings. Okay, well those are never exciting, but at least they sounded clear. The next thing I want to do though is demonstrate a bit of this for you if I can. So I'm going to switch off this microphone and switch to my Rode NTG. This video mic supports USB as well as analog. So we're going to go with the analog connection to try and get as clean a capture as I can. So hopefully this comes across. So I'm going to step off camera, hook this up, and play some music. Hopefully that came across as clean for you as it did for us in the studio. There's one last thing to talk about, and that's price. These retail for $499, but hold on a second. At the time of recording, they're already on sale for $330, so it seems like Monoprice is already coming to an equilibrium price of around $3. Now I look at the things that I use for my gaming experience. My desk, my chair, my video card, my monitor, all those things come together to make my gaming experience. And I wonder why I've never really spent a lot of money on audio. The speakers that I mentioned before, the ones with the little scorpion on it, they're 30 watts. And that's split between two speakers. That's 15 apiece. After using these for a week, there is no going back. Absolutely no way am I going back to 30 watts. So yeah, you know, the stuff that I review, I have to send it back. Not these. I'm going to be buying a pair. These get my enthusiastic endorsement. I absolutely have to upgrade. If you're like me and you hate wearing a pair of headphones on your head and you much prefer to have a microphone and speakers, you can't go wrong. This is what you need. So I'm Ron Burke, editor-in-chief for GamingTrend.com. Thank you to Monoprice for sending me these to check them out. And damn you for making me spend $330. Thanks everybody. We'll see you again very soon.